Okay, good morning, dobro jutro. Polo od vas još spava, so the half of our participants that are offline, they still sleep. So it seemed that these 2 days were really hard. Значит, ovi dani su bili baš teški, da? Okay, so today is the 3rd day and I'm more than happy that we continue being together. Znači, to je baš dobro što i 3. dan mi smo zajedno i vidim što i online isto pun i sve ljudi dođete i 3. dan. So I see that even online participants are here and we can continue and it means a lot. So I can imagine how tired you are. Mogu da zamislim kako vi ste već umorni. But today is the day of adjustment, let's say. Ali danas je dan kad mi moramo da gledamo da li naš budućnost koju mi želimo i naš hub, to je ista priča. So today we should find if our desired future, like our intimate desired future, coincides with our educational hub. So if yes, it means that our educational hub has life, let's say. If not, so we should add something. I znači tako, ako naš hub u suštini izrađe to što vi želite, znači sve ok, ako ne, još treba da dodajemo nešto. So today we start, actually we have the same routine, let's say. We have inspiration session, and first inspiration session will be opened by Yoav, and this is a great guy. Actually we know him personally and I'm very happy. I znači, zdravo, dobar dan. Znači, prva sesija će biti otvorena sa Jovom i imam sreću da znam Jova lično, because he came here to Montenegro, to Budva, and we had great session of team building, not team building, but team model. So it was really great. And we were talking about MOOC and so on. I znači, mi smo imali jednu sesiju kad smo pričali za team model, kako radimo u timu. I so today it's, I don't know how you will inspire us, but for sure we will be inspired. So you're very welcome. Let's start.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. If you can make me the host, please, because I want to divide into rooms. Okay, so I'll start. Hello, everyone. My name is Yoav Wyman. I'm from Israel, Tel Aviv, and I work in a very special organization. Our name is Educating Cities. Nadia is very familiar with my boss and my colleague, Yaakov Echt. He's the father of democratic education in Israel. So I want to speak today about 2 things. One thing, hybrid learning or hybrid school. And the second thing is the team model. Let's start from the end. Let's start with doing something. I want to show you a tool that me and my colleagues are working with when we are thinking about hybrid school or hybrid learning. Okay, let's start to play with it. I want to show you the tool, and then I will divide you into small groups and we will work with the tool. So yeah, this is the tool. It's like a roulette. Okay, let's go to the casino and play with a roulette. So when we think about learning, we can think about who learns. If it's the classic classroom, the class. With what? With a computer, without a computer. Who's the teacher? The teacher. When we are learning now, live, synchronous, okay? and we're in the classroom. But you know, after this year, we know that we can learn outside of the classroom, maybe in a learning environment, maybe at home, maybe in the community, or maybe outside of the classroom, in the garden or in the streets. When we can do it not live, we can do it asynchronous or synchronous and asynchronous combined. Maybe synchronous for one day, like an assignment, a long assignment for one day, or maybe for 1 week. And we will teach, not a teacher, maybe students will teach each other. Maybe a master teacher, maybe parents, or maybe self-learning. It can be with or without a computer, inside the classroom, with or without, like, you know, the U2 song, With or Without You, outside, with or without, or one day, with or without. And who learns? The classroom, maybe all the classes, the grade level, maybe individual learning, maybe small group, or maybe we'll do it combined. One task individual and then in small group and then the classroom. Okay, so I want us now to play. I'm sending you the link. I want to show one last thing. When we play, okay, we need to push this button, okay? This is the roulette. And then now I need to create a lesson for grade level, like multiple classes with a computer, self-learning, one day outside. Okay, this is the game. I can do it one more time and I will have some different aspects. So I want you now to go into the chat if you're online. And if you're offline, Nadia, if you can send it to the peers that are working now together in the classroom. And I want to divide you, okay, into some rooms. I want you to meet each other, okay, for 2 minutes. Hello, I'm Yoav, I'm from Israel. And then one of you will share his screen, okay? And do the roulette, push the roulette, try to think together, how can you make learning those aspects, okay? Did you understand the game? It's a very simple game. You push one time on the button and think together how you can make learning happen. So I'm dividing you now, the conference hall, you are together physically, do it in groups of 2 or 3, that's all, 2 or 3 people. So I create the rooms, we will come back in, let's say 5-6 minutes. Bye-bye. You need to open the microphone and the camera, okay? And now please go to the room. Yeah, if you hear me, please move to another room, yeah. So if you hear me, yeah, please go to the breakout room. Okay, and if you don't hear me, I saw someone don't understand what's written on the chat. Okay, I'm going to the other rooms and I will come back here.
Существует подтип.
Hello for the two new participants. We will come back in, let's say, 2-3 minutes.
Сейчас непонятно.
Okay, so we are waiting for all the participants to come back in, let's say, 30 seconds. We will continue.
Okay. Yaniv, and so we just press the button.
Yeah, and think about what learning you can do. Okay, but now we end this test.
Yes, I understand. We discussed it a bit and we end. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Recording in progress.
Okay, everyone come back. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. So we had a little game to start and to move our inside the head and to think about hybrid learning. I hope you had the chance and that you have nice ideas. You can work with the tool. Okay, now you have the tool, you can work with it. It's free. I think it's good for opening the mind and also to create lessons. It's a very good tool to create lessons, to think how can I do it differently. Okay, I want to get ahead and speak about our second subject, the T model. So I will show you my PPT. And I want to speak about, we already start to speak about hybrid education. And inside of it, when I think about it, I have two people that give me inspiration. One of them is Yaakov Echt. Yaniv, his son, is here with us. Yaakov is my boss, but he's my mentor also. And he's speaking, I think, 30 years about hybrid learning, about doing learning and education everywhere and every place. And the second man is Professor Sugata Mitra. He's an amazing man, give me lots of inspiration. I really love his TED Talk from 2013, Building a School in the Cloud. I can send you the link via Nadia. I think that now, maybe like 10 years ago, everything that he said, it's like rock solid true. And I advise you to see his TED Talk. Okay, if I'm doing zoom in hybrid education, now we spoke about hybrid learning, but if we think about it, if we want to do hybrid learning, we need a hybrid school. I think this is what Nadia is trying to build in Montenegro. Hybrid school can work for everyone, because if I'm doing learning everywhere and every time and in different ways, I can feed the school for this kid and this grown up and this woman and this girl. So I think we need to be versatile. We need to give some different options to how school can work. I want to show you one option. It's only one option. What or how we can manage our classes inside the classroom. Okay, we call it the T model. I want to start with a video, a short video. I want to show you how a T model classroom looks from the inside. Let's see 15 years kids like in the 10th grade learning mathematics together in a regular classroom, okay, with chairs and tables. But I think that you can see and hear that the learning happens. Let's see and hear. So I guess you don't understand the Hebrew, but you can hear that they are speaking and teaching each other. So this girl teaches her friends. She's using the T model. Like in the beginning of the classroom, the teacher teaches. Afterwards, she stopped. She asked, who understand me? Kids raised their hand. She divided the classroom into small groups, and she asked the kids to teach and learn from each other. Everyone is a teacher and a learner. Everyone gives help for everyone. So let's see it. So they are teaching each other, they are active, they are doing it in different pace, they take responsibility on themselves on their friends. And they are dynamic, they can move inside the classroom and they can speak and smile and maybe to speak about different things that they are not learning, okay? They are learning geometry, maybe they speak about other things, it's okay, okay? So this was 15-year-old kids. Let's see 6-year-old kids, okay? This is a religious school in Israel, in south of Israel, Ashkelon, near Gaza. And let's see. Okay, so you can see they have small whiteboards and they can teach and write for each other. So this is a small classroom, those 3 people. And you can see the teacher you can see in here, he's working with 4 kids. So he can move from group to group and he is responsible to hear what they are saying, maybe to help them, but not to be the teacher now. They are the teacher. So he divides himself into 5 groups, okay? Very decentralized. This is a school for girls. They are 11 years old and they are doing exactly the same. They are learning Hebrew. The last video, they learn Bible. In the first video, they learn mathematics. So this is Hebrew. And so with girls, it's more quiet and more fluent, okay? And you can see the room. You can see the environment, okay? It's very dynamic. They can choose with whom and where they are learning, okay? It's not regular tables, round and different shapes and different chairs. Okay, so why a team and how it works? Let's speak about it for 5 minutes. So we have 2 principles. One principle, everyone is a teacher and a learner, okay? They need to think about themselves if they want to teach or they want to learn, but they can be this and that. I'm the teacher, I can learn also. And the second thing, the group has a shared goal, transparent and measurable. So we don't want the kids to compete each other. We want them to work with each other, to do collaborative learning, okay? To help each other, to do education and learning together combined. So it looks like this. This is a classic room, and this is a T model room. We know that kids are different. So we use we use the differences that they have, and we say, okay, we have 5 or 6 kids that got the material, that understand. So I can divide the classroom into 6. I can give them maybe little whiteboards, and I can ask them, okay, teach each other, make lots of connection, lots of interaction with each other. And maybe a group is a group. And when I do it online with the Zoom, like we did it 5 minutes ago, I can divide you into rooms and you can work together. So I can do it online or offline. I can do it inside the classroom or in the garden or outside. And I can do it live, or I can do it not live. Maybe we will add a shared document, a Google document or Google Drive, so we don't need to do it live. We can do it all through the day, asynchronous. And those are kids in the elementary school. They are using the flashlight, the traffic light. We will see it in a minute. And those are kids in 11 years old, 15 years old in Africa, in China, in Poland, in Montenegro, okay, from Dukli School. This is Nadia. So what is the traffic light? After the teacher teaches, every kid says what color he is. If he is red, okay, he's taking a red flag, okay? He says, I don't understand it. I think that the red card is the most important card, okay? I want to make an environment for the kids that they can say, I didn't understand it. You know, we as teachers, we know that when I know that I don't know, I can start to know, okay? I think I exist. Or I'm yellow, I understand, but not fully. I need to work a little bit more. Or I'm green, I understand and I can explain to my friends, okay? So now you can work with those cards. I can divide the room into colorful groups like red, yellow, and green, or maybe 2 yellows and green, 1 red, 2 yellows, okay? It doesn't really matter, 2 colors in one group. Okay, yalla, let's go, teach each other and learn from each other. Make as many interactions and as many connections inside the classroom, okay? It can look like that, and like that, and like this, and like that, and like this with computer when we do hybrid learning, and that's it, okay? I can speak about it, I think, all day if you want, but Nadia gave me 10 minutes. So I want to stop now and to ask you to think about what we did. We did hybrid learning, okay? We took the tool, the roulette, and then we spoke about pedagogic inside the classroom. How can we do it with the team model, okay? So if we connect the kids together, I think, or I know from my experience, we can do it outside the classroom, live or not live, all through the day or all through the week. So I will stop now and I will tell Nadia, thank you for having me here. And I will hope that we will continue to work together, or maybe I will come to Montenegro one more time.
Yoav, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. I will give you this.
Thank you, Yoav. And I would like to invite our next speaker in this inspiration session. It is Artem Soloveychik, and the topic is self-reliance for the educational ecosystem. It's, if to put it short. Artem, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, can I start? Thank you so much for invitation, for this possibility to talk, and thank you, Yoav, for this beautiful illustration for what I would like to talk now about. And it's a short time. I try to keep my English understandable. If you don't understand, please show the red card. Yes, as you have asked, and it's mostly question which I want to set up than the answers, because all my life my father was a great educator in Russia, and he set up this idea before all changes in the country of the freedom in education, which was very unheard of in previous Soviet Union Russia, that kids have to have all freedom in their education, in the way they choose what they do, as much as possible. And I continue what my father was doing, and my own practice shows that if you give this freedom to the kids to find out exactly what they want, what they feel, what they choose, and you give time for this, you may be not so quick in education at the moment, but you'll be much more efficient at the end when they will make this self-esteem inside themselves. But I always have this contradiction that when you give kids freedom, you will not be able to build up in them like responsibility, accountability. What's the sound? Something with the sound. Accountability. So how to make this combination? Oh, there's sounds of freedom and of freedom and responsibility. I believe that this connected naturally, but not every education.
Артем, тебя не слышно.
Conf-moderator.
Сейчас? Нас слышно? Can you hear me now? Do you have voice now?
Да.
Okay now.
Yeah. So in classroom you have 20, 15 kids, 20 kids. It depends from school to school, from the country, and you have to have some discipline in class. Most teachers believe. I hope that here we have a gathering of teachers who believe in different kind of discipline. But anyway, as you would say, that if teacher cannot rule the class, the teacher will have a real problem. We know this from experience. You should find some way how to keep work in the classroom. But if you teacher can only rule the class, there is a problem for the kids. They will be, like those, you don't want to teach, to build up the obedient kids who only know how to say some other words. We want to bring up the kids who are the author of their lives, the author of the words. What you're saying, you not repeat what somebody else. You create from inside of yourself the understanding, of the world, and this is a collaboration. This when we talk with each other. So the question which I want to set up is when we talk about ecosystem, how do we know is this is an ecosystem or it's a system, just maybe more colorful, more beautiful, but what's the difference between ecosystem and any other efficient system where kids come together with the teachers, with the adults, and everyone in collaboration build up their own life. So in this title for this talk, I put this self-reliance. When you trust yourself, you trust that you author of your life. Doesn't matter how old you are, even when you're small. Usually, even smaller kids, they more ready to be their own authors of their life. They don't learn the social rules yet, and so they're more open, they're more free. So how So the self-reliance of each and every member, participator, as a condition, as a prerequisite for the well-being of educational ecosystem. So it means that everyone is free to live his or her own life. Everyone is free to think what I think. Everyone is free to be on their own. And if this makes the system, we're able somehow to learn how to do it. And this conference, I think, is exactly about this. That means that it's ecosystem. If you have to be not your own, if you have to be different from what you feel in everywhere, in everything or some part, then it's not exactly ecosystem. That's what my point, which I want to share with you, or I think myself about it. It's a long way how to believe, how to make this ecosystem happen when everyone lives, I would say, very bravely on their own, on its own, his own, on my own. But this is exactly when I feel huge freedom. So I believe the earlier the freedom implemented to the kids' life, the earlier they learn how to respond the way the system exists. For example, one of our Russian educated in Russia, Alexander Labok, he took the first grade kids and he came with all. He is very, big teacher. He was teaching elder kids, and he decided once to make experiment to work with the small kids and work with them all 10 years with all his experience and mind and philosophy and psychology and so on. And when these first grade kids came to classroom, of course, they were not ready to talk high speech with this very educated teacher. They kind of otherwise you put them straight at their desk, or they do what they want. So he created several games, and one of the game I want to explain to you, which prepared these kids to their own life in this new ecosystem he was building in his experimental class. He suggests kids to run around the classroom with the desks and chairs and their classmates around, the way that you don't touch the desk, don't touch the chair, don't touch the classmate. If you connect or touch somebody, you're out of the game. So the winner, the one who was able to run around the class, and you know how in first grade you're ready to run, without bumping to each other or chair on a table. So it's a understandable game, but he made the rule, one of the rule, which was very surprised for this game. He told to judge, to consider if you touch the chair, table, desk, or classmate is only the player himself. You should decide for yourself there was touch or not. Very simple rule, but it changed completely because the winners at the beginning was the kids, mostly the boys, who was bumping into everything, but they were telling that it's not my fault. It's somebody threw me to this desk. So the winner was always the one who thinks himself that he didn't touch it, but we all see that he was touching. But the rule is the rule. You are the winner. After 2 weeks, this rule became to work inside the kids itself. It was not any more interesting to run around bumping and then saying that I'm not bumping. So the game kind of finished. There was another games, but it shows how we, especially in childhood, we have enough time, space, possibility to give kids to learn to make these rules inside themselves. If these rules inside me, if it's my rule, then I feel that I live in this ecosystem as a free person. That's what exactly what I would like to say. And I will tell you another story, very short story, that even in a school which consider itself like a free school, like, ecosystem, the principal of a school, very famous, Alexander Tobelsky, he came to the first grade, make a picture, very small picture on a blackboard or whiteboard of the triangle, circle, and what's it, квадрат? Как будет квадрат? Я забыл.
Square.
Square. And he asked kids in a classroom to cover the whole space of the blackboard by these small figures. He asked it in the first grade, in the fifth grade, and in the 10th grade. In the first grade, kids ask why we are doing this very soon from the start. In the fifth grade, kids ask why we're doing this, what for we're doing this. But it was a longer time than the first grade, and 10th grade never asked this question. They were considering if adults think that we should do this, and maybe then we'll understand why we're doing it. But they finish this huge work of covering this blackboard by the small figures, long time, lots of efforts, and never ask why, because they already learn that adults, they know what we should do, why we should doing, and so on. So this is exactly what we would like to avoid. These questions should grow up in the kids, and this what I'm trying to say with my small English is that ecosystem is a system which combine those the members who are free and who build their own freedom and trust in this freedom, trust themselves, and who is the author of what they're saying, how they're saying. And if we can build this system which not oppose to this freedom of each one, but combine it, make it collaboration, then it's exactly an ecosystem. How to do it? I don't know. It's a long run. And I think this conference, these meetings, the school, the hybrid school is exactly working on this. But this is, for me, is a critical point that in a life where I trust myself, trust to be on my own, trust to be self-reliant, believe in self-reliance, then I'm a free person, then I can think, then I'm not tired from my life, then I'm ready to learn or to teach or to be in this open school. That's what my point. If it was clear, I would be I would be glad. Mhm.
If you want, you can repeat or not.
Спасибо. Thank you so much. Yes, I can answer the questions, or we can.
Thank you, Artyom, very much for these inspiring questions, and I would say the high task. And I would like now to invite our last speaker for the inspiration session. Here is Lika. Please, Lika, come here.
Well, I feel a bit complicated. I don't know, with the presentation. Yeah.
You should just make.
Could you please move it somewhere beside? I cannot see the screen well. Otherwise, so I'm now in front of rather complicated task because I'm feeling like I'm going to summarize my colleagues. I mean, Yoav and Artyom, who are talking about the self-reliance and teaming and the importance of those processes. And I want to mention one more category, which is, I suppose, basically very important for the modern education. And at the same time, my speech will be kind of introduction to the next step, to the interactive session we have today. So yes, a couple of words about future thinking, yeah, and shifts to be made to include this kind of literacy and this kind of competence into our life. But when you listen to me, yeah, it will be a little bit messed up, I suppose, because I wouldn't talk about future itself. Yeah, let's imagine the future. No, mainly I would follow Artyom and talk about responsibility, yeah, and self-responsibility. So let's go forward, please. Yes, so we're living in rather a complicated world. Yeah, some of us know that abbreviation VUCA, yeah, VUCA, which is about complexity, about uncertainty, about the world is very fast, yeah, and very fast changing and very uncertain, and you cannot predict anything clearly because it's so fast that you just thinking and planning something and the conditions have already changed, yeah, and you have rethink and redo and replan all the time, constantly, without any stop, yeah. And we always hear a lot about fast world, about changing world, about uncertain world, but I have to mention one more trait, and it is very important. It is hyperconnectivity. The world today is very connected. Yeah, intuitively, in feelings, we never had a planet so small. Yeah, and when you act somehow in one side of the planet, the other side could be affected. And we should bear in mind this fact. Today, everyone can be a change leader. Everyone can be a change maker. This is great possibility, but this is great responsibility. Yes, and we should think about what are the consequences of our actions? What are the consequences of our intentions? We want some good for ourselves. Would it be good for some others? Yeah, and that is the main shift in education. This should be made. We should be very consequent care. Yeah. So let's go forward, please. Yeah, thank you. And I have to mention two shifts that should be made. One is on the personal level, and it also means the change of educational system and change the educational principles. And the other is on the organizational level, and I will go through the both levels, yeah, consequently. So we are talking a lot about subjectivity. We should be self-reliant. We should be self-confident. No, stop. we should express ourselves. We should know what we want. We should set goals and so on and so forth. But, excuse me for the rude word, what fucking for? I mean, we never ask what for. I want to be successful. I want to be great. What for? What's the next step? And how your next step will affect the others. Could you allow yourself to be successful by the means of others? Is it okay to you? Or is it not? Yeah? Could you allow yourself to have some privileges by the means of others? Is it subjective? Yeah, and I suppose that the shift we should make now is another meaning of subjectivity. A shift from self-centered subjectivity, me is the center, to planetary or global-centered subjectivity. All of us as a center, and all the connections and relations between us is a matter of care, is a matter of attention. And only in cooperation, only in harmony, we can subjectively do the greater good for all of us. Yeah, let's go forward. And the problem is traditional education mainly focuses us on being system reliant, on being non-subjective or immaterially subjective. Loyalism, paternalism, yeah, just survival and it's okay. Obeying and so on and so forth. And traditional system of education, unfortunately, is still too much dehumanized. We are focused on processes and results where human is just a means, it's just an instrument. So we cannot get subjected through the system. Okay, we have different schools. Some schools for talented or for gifted, some elite schools, yeah, some leadership schools, and so on and so forth. But what do they set as a goal? Yeah, as a portrait of ideal graduate, yeah, it's self-success, or it's a kind of missionalism, yeah, or you just get a self-leader like my success, yeah, is the ultimate goal. I should be the best. I should win. I should get the privileges. I should win all the concurrence, and gather all the resources. It's still a resource consuming model of man. Yes? Or I should be like a progressor. I should be that one who will bring the happiness to those stupid others, This model can seem nice, but it still bears the privileges inside. I still too much proud of myself. And the planet with the global challenges now needs a person who is planetary confident. And that is the means, and that is the main, I suppose, sense of future thinking. Yeah, when you think not about your personal futures, but about possible futures for the whole community and for the whole humanity and for the whole planet. And you asked, do I do something that is working for greater good? Or how can I use my self-realization, my self-success to create additional resources for the greater good? And that is a future thinking, but not planning the next step, and this is the future's literacy. The other shift, please. Yes, the other shift on the organizational level is moving from education, which just repeats and repeats and repeats the well-known patterns, to the education as a prototyping playground of the desired future, our collective desired future, which we have just talked collectively to in our community, in our schools, and so on and so forth. Because if you act the way you are inhabited to be, you would never get ultimately new results. Yeah, that is obvious. And the education, education is as an organization. Education is a playground, is a training ground for the behavioral scenarios. You can graduate the school absolutely illiterate in means of just math or science or languages or so on and so forth. Yes, if your school is not so quality, but you definitely will graduate from schools bearing certain behavioral patterns and certain social scenarios you lived in for those 10 or 11 years you were studying. And you will be a bearer, and you will be a translating point, and you will train your kids, and you will train your encircled ones in those patterns you got in school. School is responsible for your social habits, firstly, and the knowledge is on the second place. Because now in the open world, you can get the knowledge from anywhere you want. reading books, surfing the internet, yeah, talking to people. The world is open. You just try. If you want, you can get on the social net, you know, social networks, and just find the people with the interest you close to, and just write them a message. Yes, and they will answer. You can connect everyone you want anytime you want, and get any knowledge, any information you want, just immediately. So this shift with organizations is the shift to understanding that we are, for our first mission and our first responsibility, to be a training ground of social scenarios. And what social scenarios do we train? Yes, and that is future thinking. Do we want people behaving and acting like this after 10, 15, 20 years? Do we want to live in such relationships? Let's go. Yes, so the mission of education, I mean, is to be like a training ground, to be a prototype of, and to get, well, to provide the person with everything what is needed to be co-author of our common greater good, of our collective desired future. Let's go. Yeah, and so the mission of, the mission of the educational organization starts with the image of desired future, collectively created image of desired future. And then we just choose which part of the desired future we want to take responsibility of for the first time. For example, we are on ecological project, yes? And the ecological sustainability is focus number one for us. So we take care of that part of the world. And we firstly train such competencies, yeah? Or we are a center or a school which is mostly responsible for psychological sustainability. And we take care of this part of reality. And we start to verify and create practices which in just making us stronger, yeah, to take care of this. What we want to take care in this world. This is the starting point of personal strategy and organizational strategy. Yeah, so that is the statement. I'll give the presentation to everyone, so it's no need just to make photos. Yeah, and futures thinking, futures ES, because we have different futures and it's okay. Yeah. And our skill of self-reliance, Artyom's topic, and teaming, yeah, the skill, yes, to communicate and to cooperate, both make us just connect our different futures and make them non-controversial. We are not competing for the future. We can be there, all of us. Yeah, there's no exclusion. But the question is, would we be fighting for be the best future? Or would we be just connecting, yeah, and discussing how to be together without controversies in our common diverse future? Let's go. Yeah. So, and this is why future thinking practice the most important maybe in modern education. We should start with training gradually our colleagues, our teams, to ask the question, what's for? To ask the question, is it for common greater good? What consequences does your opinion have? Why are you choosing such practices? Yeah, why you are prototyping such an environment? How will it be affecting the other groups and other communities? Have you got the consensus with them? Yeah, have you connected to them? And have you clarified that what you are doing, which is looking rather nice from inside, yeah, is fruitful and not harmful when looking from outside, from the whole system level? Yeah. So the evolution of future thinking practices now is, as we had that in industrial era, it was like planning or forecasting. Yeah, we have a world is such, it's kind of immutable, you know, and you just need to understand what is like the next step. Yeah, and to do the next step, of course, bearing in mind your own interests. Yeah, to be the winner. When world gets faster, yeah, you try to understand the varieties. Okay, yeah, the scenarios can be different. It's a kind of foresighting. They can get, some scenarios can have advantages and disadvantages both. And you should estimate the advantages and disadvantages and to choose the most advantageous one and to cure like disadvantages. But how do you choose? On what basis? Oh, people are always people. They are always as such. They don't change their mindset. Their reactions are the same. That is the kind of axioma. Yeah, and this is foresighting. This is the weak point of foresighting. No, mindset is changing. Who could imagine phenomena like cancel culture 2 years or 10 years or 15 years ago? Yes. Who could imagine like so flourishing feminism movement? Who could imagine so much awareness of ecology? Yes, today every teenager is like cared about ecology, yeah, and disturbed with those problems. Who could imagine? This is mindset changing. Who could imagine co-livings, social movements 10 years ago, 15 years ago? But now it's all flourishing. We change our mindset. So the best practice for today, I don't mean that they're best absolutely, but best practices for today are anticipating practices, programming the desired scenario, which are made for greater good, and then to move there collectively. Yeah, that is the like modern practices of future thinking. So I suppose I would stop there, but I have a couple of slides. I don't remember. Do I have some? What? Do I? У меня там еще что-то осталось, да? Yes, and some traits of future practicing for today, future thinking practicing for today. I mean, that is, first of all, collective thinking. There could be no individual isolated future. We have to shift from ego-systemic approach to ecosystemic approach. We can only create it together. Yeah. Second one, non-judgment. There are no good and bad futures. Yeah. So, and good and bad ways of life until you directly harm and kill others. Yes. So going beyond boundaries. Yeah. You should practice future as such. You start thinking in the other way. You start thinking impossible. And that is not something new. Futurology started with this. Yeah. You should refer to Osip Flechtheim, who is the father of futurology. And that was his main point, that you should start with imagining impossible. And that guides you to possible that you want. Yeah. And the last one is ending up with action tasks. If you just speak and dream and never keep it into practice and never start prototyping and doing what you want and dream to do, yeah, all the efforts are useless. So that is my point. And we are now going to the practice. Just starting the practice now. Thank you so much. And I suppose we can just move to, yeah, to our session directly, because it was a kind of preface to the session we're going to have. So yes, now we have a kind of 5-7 minutes break to prepare the place, yeah, for the session, and to understand who will be moderating whom. So please cheer up yourself for 5-7 minutes. Yeah, we'll get some preparations. Thank you.